Okay, friends, we are still on verdict watch in the Karen Read trial, but the jury has come back with 3 questions. And we went to court to discuss them. The attorneys argued on what they think should happen, and Judge Cannoni is going to explain the verdict slip again. No surprise to me and lots of other people, the jury is confused about the verdict slip, which the defense submitted several motions to try to have amended to avoid the confusion, yet here we are. So what is interesting is all 3 of their questions center around the OUI charge, which for like us here in Tennessee would be a DUI charge, so operating under the influence. Their questions are, what is the time frame for the OUI? Is it 12:45 a.m. or is it 9 a.m.? Because remember, they didn't do the extrapolated, like the reverse blood test until 9 o'clock the next morning. The defense says it's not listed anywhere in the indictment. It's just the date, January 29, 2022. So we should just leave it at that. Just tell them they have all the information they need on that. And Brennan says, we would say 12:45. And Judge Cannoni says, well, where is that in the indictment? It needs to be in the indictment. He didn't say when her blood alcohol level would have been that and when you're actually charging her with the OUI. He says, well, we've really focused on the time of 12:45 a.m. in both trials. Yes, you have. So she says, I'm not putting that in there. It's not in the indictment. Second question is, are Karen Read's statements that we heard in the clips, are those evidence and how do we consider them? So those statements are evidence. Another reason for you to never, ever, 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 ever say anything outside of anywhere except for your lawyer. Please don't ever do that. They will be used against you. Can and will be used against you, right? So they are evidence. And then there was some back and forth with, essentially what they're going to say is you give the clips the same weight you would give any other evidence. The defense wants to say you give them the same weight, if any weight, as the other evidence, because what they're saying is every single piece of evidence that comes into this trial you can disregard completely. If you don't find it credible, you can disregard it completely if it doesn't fit into you, you know, whatever, or you can give it lots of weight. So they wanted to specify the if any. Brennan argued against the if any. So Judge Cannoni is just going to go back through the instruction to tell them, you know, basically you decide what weight you give it. The third question was, if we convict her on a subcharge, number 5 on count 2, which is essentially just the OUI, or what we would consider a DUI, if we click check guilty on that part, just that part, does she still get convicted of manslaughter? Because remember, this is the charge that the defense asked to add the not guilty boxes next to each charge because there were lesser includeds on this one. And they felt that it would be confusing, and Judge Cannoni said, I don't think it's confusing, and I was upheld last year when I also didn't think it was confusing, even though they said they were confused, but whatever. So they wanted to add a not guilty box next to it because they were like, there's 5 guilty boxes and only 1 not guilty box. Like, that's confusing. So that's actually what they came back and asked. They want to be sure, if we check guilty down here on just OUI, does she then get convicted of all of the charges of count 2? And they're trying to be sure that they do this correctly. So based on these questions, it sounds like they are very much focused on OUI, and if they are being so specific about, well, we want to know if we can click this and it doesn't click all the other stuff, it sounds like they've disregarded count 1, second degree, completely, because if they've disregarded second degree, then manslaughter would be less than that, right? So I don't know. And they maybe haven't gotten to count 3 yet, so we'll see. But I think that these questions are a good sign for the defense. You let me know what you think. I think we might have a verdict today.